The version produced for, you know, us normal people, this is pretty good. Let's go. Everybody, thanks for joining. I appreciate it. You found your way over to the Modest Audiophile channel, and yes, today we're going to talk about Steely Dan's 5th studio album, The Royal Scam. This one in particular is the new re-release by UMG. It came out on June 6th, I believe, 2025, globally. This is the People's version, the $32 version, not the $150 one-step that's out there. Nope, this is the People's version, and this is what we're going to talk about today. So real quick, we'll go briefly into when this record came out in the overall discography of Steely Dan. We'll talk about the mastering engineer, which is very important on this one in particular. We'll talk about the condition of the media as well as the overall packaging. And then we'll get into what matters. We'll talk about how this thing sounds, from the overall tone stack to the soundstage and image. Did a couple decibel level checks that we'll cover, and then go into some of the tidbits I pulled out of the songs that I thought were pretty remarkable. Then we'll get you out of here, okay? All right, let's go. So like I stated earlier, this is the 5th studio album by Steely Dan. It came out right after 1975's Katy Lied, more on that in a second too, and right before 1977's Asia. This was recorded between November of 1975 and March of 1976, and it was released on May 31st, 1976. As stated earlier, we are talking about the People's version. I bought this for $31.98. I bought it at a local record store too. This one was remastered by Joe Nino-Hernes. I hope I pronounced that right. Joe Nino-Hernes over at Sterling Sound in Nashville, Tennessee, I believe. And I wanted to bring him up because out of all the re-releases of the Steely Dan's catalog, based on the research that I was able to do, he did 2 remasters. He did this one. He also did Katy Lied, which also came out in 2025. He did it from a flat, high-res digital file. Nothing that was pre-mastered before it got to him. So for instance, on Steely Dan's Asia, which came out a couple years ago, this one was also done, or my copy of it anyway, was done from a digital high-res file, but it was mastered by Bernie Grumman, I believe. So again, this one, The Royal Scam and Katy Lied, was done by a high-res digital file, but it was done from a flat file, meaning that Joe Nino-Hernes wound up doing the remastering himself. And I did want to call that out. So let's get into the overall condition of this. Okay, from a packaging perspective first, it's good. It's a $32 record. It's not a $50 or $60 record, so you're not going to get that high-end Stoughton tip-on jacket and all of that, but it's good enough. So here's the front. Here's the back. And on the inside, we have the lyric sheet. Nice picture here. And the drawback is this is also what the record came in. They stuffed it in here, this thick paper or thin cardboard, however you want to describe it. This is what they jammed the record in. We'll talk about, if you make it to the end of this video, I'm going to just talk about how they packaged these records, these Steely Dan records in general. I got a couple more here that I want to share with you. But first and foremost, let's get into the condition of the media. So the record itself. I am fortunate that after I was able to pry it out of this, that it didn't come with a lot of scuffs or scrapes. It did have a lot of paper chaff on it. Dusted that off. Then I put the record in my sonic cleaner. I have a Humming Guru. I let it run for 3 cycles. Made sure this thing was as clean as I could get it here. And then, very fortunately, when I dropped the needle on this thing, It was flat, there were no warps, there was no cupping. Again, no surface noise, no pops, no clicks. I was very fortunate that it cleaned up as well as it did. Thank goodness, because this thing sounds really, really good. So I was very happy with how it came out. So how does it sound? All right, let's talk about the tone stack first. In general, what I'll say is you're getting some high-end sparkle on this thing that I wasn't getting on this, okay? We'll talk about that more in a second. So let's start with the bass. You're getting good bass, really good bass. No issues whatsoever with the bass. A couple of these songs, you're getting some nice rumble coming on. I will say I'm listening to this through Wharfedale Super Lintons, so I'm getting some good bass. The mids on this are excellent. The instruments, the vocals. I put down here, it's got spank and it's got punch. Pretty dynamic record as well, and we'll get to that in some of the decibel level checks, but mids, check, really good. Where I think this thing shines is in its treble. I put very detailed, and I don't mean overly so. This is not an ear fatiguing record, and in fact it's not so detailed that you're not hearing the bass and mids. No, the bass and mids were very good, but you are getting quite a bit of clarity coming off this record with Joe Nino-Hernes remaster. So you're getting sparkly, crispy, I mentioned not ear fatiguing, great cymbals. The percussion in the cymbals are extraordinary, and we'll talk about that in some of the songs that come up, but again, really good, well-balanced tone stack. It leans a little bit forward on the treble, but not at the expense of the bass and mids, if that makes sense. Hopefully. All right, soundstage and image. Big soundstage. My speakers are 8.5 feet apart. I sit 8.5 feet away, and yeah, you're getting a nice wide soundstage. Easily the soundstage with your mind's eye, right? Close your eyes. What are you seeing with your mind's eye? Sound is coming out a good 5+ feet on either side of my speakers. At some points, the soundstage feels like it's coming out, right, and giving you a nice hug. The height of the soundstage is easily going up to the ceiling. That's, quite a bit. It's probably about 4 feet taller than where the tweeters are in my speakers. And as far as the bottom of the soundstage, it's definitely at the floor. So a wall of sound, if you will. Really good soundstage, no complaints. All right, let's talk about the depth. This does project in the room, so you are getting some instrumentation, some sounds coming into the room by about 1.5 feet in front of my speakers. And it does go all the way to the back wall, which is, again, about 3 feet behind my speakers. Really good depth. Really good depth. In fact, I would say that's where this record shines above all else, is the depth within the soundstage. Really good. The overall image is laser sharp. Outstanding image. No issues whatsoever with the image. Thoroughly enjoyed this particular image. Yeah, really good. So, soundstage, check. Depth, check. Image, check. A wholeheartedly enjoyable listening experience, and more on that as we get deeper into the video. All right, let's talk about some decibel level checks I did. First, I will state that this record, as far as the overall volume coming off of it, was pretty good, pretty average. It wasn't too loud, it wasn't too soft, it was right in that Goldilocks butter zone, meaning that I kept my integrated amp set at pretty much the same levels that I do for the majority of all my records. Okay, 68 in this case. And with that, the first decibel level check I did was on the third song of side 1 called Don't Take Me Alive. And that had a low end of 54 decibels, high end of 94 decibels for an average listening experience of 83 decibels. Maybe a titch or two above where I like my average to be. I like it around 80. 83, not an issue. Again, non-ear fatiguing. Take a look in the description below on what I'm listening to this on. There's a new addition in the family. More on that in another video, but check it out below. The second song I did a decibel level check on is on side 2, and it's the second song called Haitian Divorce. And that one came in for a low end of 53 decibels, high end of 95, a little spank and punch, for an average listening experience of 83. So again, really happy with the range on this record. Just a really good listening experience. Spank and punch galore on this record. All right, now let's talk about what I pulled out with some of these songs, okay? So on to side 1. All right, side 1 starts with arguably the most popular song on the album, certainly one of the reasons why I bought it, and that's Kid Charlemagne. First off, I'll state, you know you're in for a good ride when you first start listening to this record and this song comes on, because right away, and it didn't take long, I'm noticing more stuff going on in this song than I've ever heard before. Yeah, a lot more stuff, which really led to the overall depth within the soundstage. Really good. It was tight. The attack of the instruments was quick. Really nice. Got a nice funky organ coming in on the left-hand side of the soundstage, kind of down below on the left-hand side of the soundstage, and it did project some nice bass into the room. The center of the image was a nice cymbal. It actually sits behind Fagen's vocals, and again, it's so crystal clear. Last thing I'll say about Kid Charlemagne, that lead guitar solo, right, comes in the center of the image, maybe halfway, 2/3 through the song. It's in the room, meaning it's projected in the listening space in front of the speakers, and it's really tasty. Very nice. Best version I've ever heard of this song. Really good. All right, on to song number 2, and I hope I pronounced this correctly. The Caves of Altamira. And again, the depth was showcased in this song by the horns. You had some really nice horns on this song that were hanging out in space, and everything else around the song was, obviously in front of or behind, but it really enhanced the overall depth of the soundstage. Great electric piano or organ. I'm not sure what it is. Just say it's an electric piano. It sounds like that more to me than anything else. And the high notes within the electric piano, yeah, they're in space, meaning they're projecting in front of the speakers in your listening room with your eyes closed, and you can reach out and touch those high notes. Really nice, tangible, those high notes hanging out in space. All right, let's talk about the third song, Don't Take Me Alive, right? This is the one I did the decibel level check on. I put a star next to this because I wasn't overly familiar with this song. Hearing it on this version of this record, I took notice. This thing sounds incredible, really does. Awesome crunchy guitar intro, just enough hair on it to make it tasty. It was really good. So realistic in the listening room, I stated. The clarity of it is extraordinary on this remaster. More great electric piano I put. Good punch. An excellent space between the instruments. The image is so good, of a high quality, that you close your eyes and everything's in its right space. There's no blending or smearing or anything like that. Just really, really good. Thoroughly enjoyable song. Don't Take Me Alive. All right, song number 4, Sign in Stranger. I put here, you can touch the keyboard with the piano intro. That piano intro, it leaps out of the speakers into your listening space. Real good. The guitar lead is striking, I put. The piano solo, which is kind of center out within the overall image, again, you feel like you could just reach out and start touching the keys yourself. It's that vivid. Really good. Really good. All right, song number 5 on side 1. The last song on side 1 is called The Fez. Go look it up in Wiki and get a little bit more information on what this song was written about. Very nice. But what I want to pull out here is it's a toe tapper for sure, and what shows off the depth in this song is the guitar. And when it's not in lead, right, when it's not being featured, the guitar sits nicely back in the center of the soundstage, a little bit past midway back. And it's very articulate. You can hear every note being played, but it's in the back. but when it kicks into the lead, the guitar jumps forward in the soundstage, and it's easily discernible between, again, when it's not featured to when it's featured. And it's not, again, it really gives a great sense of depth. Very cool within the soundstage. All right, let's go on to side 2. Hey everybody, I just want to say thanks. Thanks for showing up. I really appreciate it. If this is your first time here, hey, take a look around. You just might find something else you like here. I've got over 70 videos, and chances are there might be something there that you like as well. For those of you that are repeat offenders or coming back a second, third, or more times, oh, I can't thank you enough. Hey, for all of you, if you like the content here, yeah, go down there and hit like. I would appreciate it, and it would help the channel. If you want to help the channel further, that doesn't cost you a dime, go down there and hit subscribe, please. That would really help the channel as well. All right, enough of the commercial. Let's get back to this jungle gym for the senses. Steely Dan's The Royal Scam. Fantastic record. Side 2 starts with a song called Green Earrings. The intro, I put great percussion, high clarity, sparkly percussion, and it's oh so delicate and oh so vivid at the same time. Really nice. Got some great snare punch on this song too. I probably should have done a decibel level check on this, but the snare punch, you can feel it in your chest. It's really good. So articulate with everything going on is what I put in. Green Earrings is a great example of clarity and depth within a soundstage. Give it a listen. Really good. All right, second song. I did the decibel level check on this. It's called Haitian Divorce. It's got a nice reggae beat to it. Great guitar talk box too, right? Except this one is just quite a bit unique in its own way. I never quite heard, I mean, we've heard Joe Walsh do it, right? We've heard other artists do. Frampton does the talk box. A lot of artists do the talk box. But this one just sounded quite a bit different than any other guitar talk box that I've heard before. It's very cool. The lead is very cool, very unique. I don't know. Subjective, I know. Give it a listen and let me know in the comments what you feel about the talk box on this song. Wide soundstage I put with big backing vocals in the upper left and upper right hand sections of the overall soundstage. Yeah, nice, wide, full soundstage. Excellent. Haitian Divorce. The third song on side 2 is called Everything You Did. Great space around Fagen's vocals I put here. I don't know. Obviously, the whole thing's mastered the same way, but for whatever reason, on this song, I really noticed the space around Donald's vocals. Really nice. Nice organ tucked back a bit on the left-hand side of the soundstage. Again, giving that perspective of depth. And you don't lose any clarity, even though it's not forward in the soundstage. Even though it's pushed back a little bit, the clarity is still there. Really nice. So detailed, I said, you can see Larry Carlton's strings bending during his solo. Yeah, it's a little kooky, I know, but really, it's so detailed. You can, in your mind's eye, see those strings just bend. Fantastic. Wonderful hi-hat I put here as well. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. Everything You Did. And then the last song on the album is the title track, The Royal Scam. Put a star next to this one too, because it's just so easy to get lost in this song. 6 minutes plus, and got a great groove to it. Killer sounding guitar on the left. Again, not overly complicated, just really great sounding, great tonality of that guitar coming in on the left-hand side of the soundstage. You've got a piano in the center of the soundstage, and it's playing some really deep notes on the left-hand side of that keyboard, and it reverberates within the room. Excellent deep notes coming out of that piano. And on the right-hand side of the soundstage, a little bit farther back, is a nice organ. So, and then obviously in the center you've got Fagen's vocals. What I did want to pick up here, amongst the just a fantastic song, great way to end the record. But during the quiet parts of this song, you have an excellent, delicate hi-hat. Yeah, just, I hope what I was able to articulate in this fits and starts of a video is that it is just very detailed, but I don't mean that in an intrusive, ear-piercing, way. I think that the clarity and the detail that came out in this remaster did not take anything away from the bass or the wonderful mids that you get. It just really makes a very inviting soundstage that's engaging and not boring whatsoever. In fact, every time I listen to this, I picked up more things. It's just a fun house for the senses. How about that? The overall soundstage imaging and depth on this remaster is a fun house for the senses. I'll leave it at that. All right, so what are my final thoughts? Well, if you haven't been able to tell already, for $32, yeah, this thing is awesome. I had so much fun with this thing. Dare I say, I enjoy it more than Asia. Asia's great, but this one is just a bit more of everything as far as soundstage and imaging goes. Really nice. I can't wait to listen to this thing again. I haven't been bored with this whatsoever, and usually by the time I'm getting ready to do a review, I've listened to it again 8+ times, and I'm ready to move on to something else. I kind of want to listen to this again tonight. This is really fun. So yes, my final thoughts on this thing, for $32, and if you can find one that hasn't been damaged by the record company when it stuffed these records in the paper sleeves, yeah, you're going to find yourself a gem. As I mentioned earlier, the mastering engineer on this is Joe Nino-Hernes. Again, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. He also did Katie Lied, and that just might be the next one that I'm going to have to get because, again, I can't stress this enough. The soundstage and imaging on this was really good. I can only imagine what the one-step sounds like. But again, for $120 savings against that one-step, this thing is well worth the money of $32. Excellent, excellent. All right, real quick before I let you go, yeah, I got a little bone to pick with the packaging of these companies. We talked about it earlier. I pulled the record out of this. It was the lyric sheet. At least I will say it wasn't so tight in here. There was a little bit of room. I was able to pull it out. No harm, no foul. The record came out great, all of that. Well, this past weekend, I went out to a record store and I bought this Gaucho. Came out 2023, I think. I was excited to listen to it. Pulled it out. The record came out in this paper sleeve, another lyric sheet. But this one is so tight. It has zero room to spare on either sides. I was concerned. I almost ripped this thing open just to get to the record, but I'm like, well, I don't want to do that just in case I have to return it. Yeah. Pull the record out. First off, it's covered in paper chaff, paper bits, you name it. I give it a quick dust off, and then I take a look at it before I put it into the Humming Guru. And wouldn't you know that this thing had a lot of damage, some big scratches on it because of either the manufacturer stuffing these things into such a tight, stiff cardboard sleeve, or I did it when I pulled it out. Regardless, it shouldn't happen. At the very minimum, give me a cheap paper sleeve that I can rip open. Preferably, we'd all love a polyline sleeve, right? I don't know the economics behind it. I paid, what did I say, $30.98 for this. I would have gladly paid $32.98 for a polyline sleeve. All right, that's enough of that. Well, that's it, everybody. First off, thank you very much for dealing with my quick rant about how these record companies package these records. It's frustrating. It's certainly a thing in 2025. Anyway, I said enough about that. So, yeah, let's land this plane. Steely Dan, The Royal Scam. What a fantastic listening experience I had with this. So, yeah, if you're a Steely Dan fan, you already know. You already know. This is a great record. For those that aren't necessarily a Steely Dan fan or really only know the hits like Kid Charlemagne, but you're a fan of soundstage and image, do yourself a favor. For $32, it's out there all over the place right now. Go into your local record store. Order it off of Amazon or another carrier online. But most importantly, yeah, go drop your $32, get this thing. Be careful when you pull it out. Clean the living snot out of this thing before you put the needle on it, preferably with a sonic cleaner. But once you finally get it on the turntable and drop the needle, yeah, go out there and get your favorite beverage, kick back in your chair, turn the lights down a little bit, and be prepared to have your senses delighted for about 40 minutes or so. This thing was so much fun, more fun than I thought I would have with it, to be honest with you. In fact, as I stated earlier, this thing was so much fun that I think it actually surpassed this in my mind. This is a great listening experience. This thing is superior to it. And I think that's why the next Steely Dan album I'm going to go get is going to be Katie Lied, because of the same mastering engineer. So that's it. I hope you had fun on this video. It's been a long time since I've done one. You wouldn't know how many times I started and stopped this thing. Anyway, I'm looking forward to getting to the next one much sooner. Until then, everybody, take care, and thank you so much for coming back and watching this thing. Steely Dan, a royal scam. Fantastic. Bye.